Yeah, thank you very much. I appreciate being here. I am slated as the iconic business, but I got to tell you, we didn't start off as iconic. We started off as the brand new kids in town who everybody went, well, what can you do? And nobody thought we were going to be able to do what we did. Then we became the cultural warriors. We built on the stages before us. If it wasn't for the Vulcan Gas, if it wasn't for Haight-Ashbury, if it wasn't for all of the music scene and the cultural scene that had happened in Austin beforehand, we would not have been. We also would have never made it to iconic unless we had a plan for how to become sustainable, how to connect, how to build an attractive scene around us, and how to build a sphere of prosperity around that scene. Without that, we would have been gone really, really fast. So what our job has been since then is to help teach and lead the concept of let's build Austin's reputation by means of a connected, attractive cultural scene and business scene. When Armadillo Christmas Bazaar had its 40th anniversary last year, instead of us tooting our own horn and saying how great we are, we looked at other businesses in this town that did an outstanding job of building our cultural reputation. Some with food, like Mr. Hoover over here. Some with advertising, like GSD&M. Some with food, like barbecue, we got County Line. But what we looked for were those businesses. The esoteric ones, like the Center for Maximum Potential Building Systems, all the way down to the pretty well-known ones, like the Austin City Limits TV show. Because all of these things help build our reputation and make Austin attractive. So that's who I am.
Great. Okay, and so next we have Michael Portman with Barbershop and Verb. And so we're sort of looking at the businesses that built on what had been the iconic initial folks. So can you tell us about that?
Sure. I started Birds 11 years ago with my friend Jason. We're kids from Laredo and at the end of I-35, and we grew up thinking this was just the Emerald City.
I think his hair looks nice. What do y'all think?
One of the cobbler's son goes shoeless. I'm the last one. So you caught me with a haircut. But yeah, so we just always, Austin's always been the Emerald City, like I said, and for all the reasons just said. So coming here, back then we saw an opportunity, we were the change. We thought haircuts shouldn't be a chore, and that's the bottom line. So they should be something you look forward to, and especially in today's day and age, and as we've aged, we're not the new kid in town anymore, but we go to work every day acting, feeling it, because now all of a sudden nobody has contact with anybody, but one time a month or so, you go get your haircut, someone actually touches you. So our service has become, I think, even more important than before, and it's exciting. You never would have asked the 10-year-old me what he would do for a living with haircuts. But it's a great way to connect with the community and build a culture. We're very employee-focused, so just making their lives, the fact that we employ 150 people is the greatest reward of the whole thing. So they have good lives, they can afford to be part of this creative culture. That just pays it forward. But that's our thing.
And you started that in 2006, is that right?
Yeah, we started May 2006 on the South of Mall.
And how many stores do you have now?
We have eight here locally, which I'd say is towards the capacity of what, closer than further away from the capacity Austin could hold. We opened our first in Houston 5.2 weeks ago. Not that I'm paying attention. And that's like, wow, it's like starting all over again, and it's in the part of town, it's in the Heights, which I don't need to get off of Austin, but I think it's just important, it's very humbling, and I think that word is used in a wrong way, but a lot, but it's truly humbling to go into an area where you're not, you have no laurels whatsoever, and we felt this in every neighborhood we've gone into. We assume that there's some base of people that know who we are, but you gotta earn that neighbor's everything. Their eyeballs, their heard it from a friend, and we'll push the marketing. We're all in-house, we'll push it all the way, but nothing ever beats word of mouth. And so those first 5 haircuts, like crucial, or 15 or 100 or 2,000, because they're the ones that are gonna come back or tell the next person or whatever. So you hear it all the time, but I can tell you, unlike a bar or restaurant where everybody's been watching it being built first 6 weeks or 2 months or 6 years, everybody goes. Barbershop opens, you know, because you gotta need a haircut. You don't just go. So you gotta earn that business in a real way. So I don't even know what the question was, sorry.
Intro.
That's great. All right, Alisa, I'm just gonna let you go.
Hey guys, so, my name's Alisa Weldon. I have Weldon Design, and I've had the, fortunate pleasure of being in Austin for 25 years. And on the side of design and development, I had the ability of opening up Central Market in 1994 and spending 5 years there doing branding design work. And then luckily got picked up by a small ad agency called T3, which is not so small anymore, and worked on some Dell work and thought, wow, this is awesome, but looking at a computer chassis every day wasn't really my love of life. It was the community and the culture and what we had built around the seasonality of seeing things flow through the days of Central Market. So I thought, wow, if I can design for nonprofits, maybe that's where you find your passion and your love. So it was always a goal to give back everything I was paid to do to someone or somehow. So over the years, I've touched a lot of different brands, talk about marketing, the power of referral, what we all need to generate business. I focus a lot around the results side of driving business through marketing, not just making pretty pictures. That's always the fun. That's the sprinkles on the cupcake. Hoover, we got to get the ingredients first, right? Man, I've had some great burgers and chicken fried steaks over the years at your place. So, but the landscape, I know the conversation is going to be interesting today around the culture of what Austin's about, where it was even 20, 30 years ago, 40 years. I'm 42, so the fact that Armadillo Christmas Bazaars celebrate 40, man, that's impressive. Sustainable commitment to a loyal audience, making sure you're really clear on what you offer and what you do. And in this landscape of where Austin's heading, we're in a culture shift. We're in a whole new landscape of where things are headed. So when I think back to the days of opening Central Market, when you didn't have a grocery store competitive landscape, or you think about a local business, I launched 2nd Street District and brought all that to downtown, and things like Austin Cake Ball, concepts around food, those are interesting. Every business has to figure out where they fit, what their niche is, and what they really stand strong in. And for us, it's all about getting clear on your storytelling, more importantly, being vulnerable in who you are, but removing your personal fears about not financially making it, not necessarily following a path that maybe another business has followed to try and figure out what's right for you, but to elevate on your strengths and figure out how to grow your business the right way. And I think this opportunity is a great way to network together so we can really connect, because there's a lot of great stories in this room. So thank you for being here, Dan.
Sure. And I want to just circle back around to our title and how local business defines and reflects the culture. So I think you guys have all defined it in your own way, but you're also continuing to reflect it. Jump in, Bruce.
Sure. Every musician who plays in Austin and lives here is a local business. Every band is a local business. Every actor, every playwright, every theater, every music venue, every two-dimensional graphic artist, everybody who's doing this stuff, these are local businesses, their local identity. The reason that they have been able to exist as such is because the power of connection. Every artist who's ever done an art show knows you promote yourself, your individual career, but you also promote the collective. You create in the minds of the patrons the association of all the artists together to bring the attractions into connection, because the whole is greater than the sum of the parts. There's also, in culture, a way to really boost that up by promoting the sphere of prosperity around it. I'm going to give you a little example from years ago. Theater attendance used to suck in this town. It was terrible back in the late 80s. Nobody went. I went to a performance at Capital City Playhouse, and I asked the man running the theater, would you like to increase your audience? He said, yeah, how would I do that? So promote the other theaters to your crowd and get them to promote your theater to their crowd. Churn this audience. Create habitual theater goers. Instead of having a sign here that says, thank you for coming and seeing the play you just saw, promote what you've got coming in 6 weeks, and the other 5 theaters in the area, what they're doing, so that people are in theater seats all the time. It took about 5 months for theaters to become full as they started promoting each other. Dance followed and saw the same thing. The girlfriend I had back then got mad at me because she used to like to go to those performances right at curtain time and sit in the front row. And damn if they didn't start promoting each other, and suddenly we had to get there 30 minutes early to stand in the back. That's what Austin Independent Business Alliance does with local businesses. We brand ourselves as local. We promote the collective of local shopping. And sometimes when it's available and appropriate, we can churn the market like that. Restaurants promoting other restaurants may not work, but there's other things that do work well. So as much as we can reflect that cultural strength, it's all about building an identity, a reputation that brings in people, money, and energy and attention. That's the economic driver. When you've got connection, and people are promoting each other, and they're promoting the common, and they're promoting the churn of the market, we can really elevate the amount of energy that comes into the system. Right now, Austin is severely challenged because the cost of living here, of working here, and advancing a career is sucking so much energy out of the system. The city's talking about affordability. What can we do to make it more affordable? What can we do to make it more affordable? And they're really good with a WD-40 of hitting some of the friction spots and cutting down the cost a little bitty bit. But the Brooklyn Bridge was not built from one bank. It was built from 2 banks toward a center. It could never have been built from one side. The other side of that is earning power. And earning power, we can raise that ourselves by working together. Thank you.
I'd like to add to that. I think that that is a really powerful message around collaboration as our collective whole. The landscape of small businesses in Austin, we all struggle, and the last thing we need on our list of to-do is to add to everything we have to manage, taking off one hat and putting on another to manage all the things that we have to handle, from payroll to cleaning the toilets to generating business to networking to lunches to just getting the work done. I mean, we could go through, everybody knows the list of things. And I think in the landscape energetically around the Women's March recently, it's almost like the small businesses need to come together and create some sort of uprising, like an upheaval, some sort of way to like let their voices be heard, because before you know it, what I see too is the culture of not just the art community, but these businesses that you see when you drive down the street that represent a small shop owner, where you can see a Hoover sign and go, I have a story there, that's local, it's part of Austin, it's what it's about. There's so many different brick and mortar spaces or names or ways to connect to the community beyond the landscape that we beautifully have surrounding us with a lake and trails and all the arts organizations. It's the small business owners that create the ideas, that allow things to grow, that define the culture. And for us, we struggle on the affordability side of just maintaining rents, much less getting permitting done for changes, whether it's a new shop that you're opening or whatnot. So I'm sure you all feel that same way, but defining the culture, defining what you stand, and figuring out what your sticking point is critical. It's critical. And Hoover, you should be on this panel talking about longevity. I mean, this one on culture. Yes, and I mean, you could speak for days on the culture side of what it means for East Austin and the Thoroughfare 35 and what it's done, and where businesses have grown and where they're expanding, and how we all have different cultures within now our own neighborhoods, much less the city of Austin. So I'm adding to it, not really with a particular thing, except we have to do more of what Rebecca's doing, and thankfully be a conduit for all these small businesses to unite in a way for a conversation to be had. So we define, not react to what Austin's going to be in 20 years from now.
We need a local business march.
I love a local
I
business.
love that.
I think we got the leaders right here in the room. Let's just get a sign made. We can do that.
We
And
have signs?
give away toys. Not sure what kind. I mean, there's all kinds of things to do.
Yeah, very much like the march on Saturday. The more voices together, the better we're heard.
Exactly.
So I'm going to jump in on the panel and take this opportunity just to make sure you guys know that we do have a membership drive this whole year. So the next event, you bring somebody with you, and that grows our numbers. It gives you a chance to reach out to somebody you need to connect with for business or community building. Bring them to the next meeting with you. I also want to say, I love the idea of a march, and I want to plant this date. The first Saturday of South by Southwest is March 11th, and we are having this fabulous new showcase called Austin by Austin. And we're going to put local creatives in local businesses. And if you participate, you will be a member of AIBA, and you will be featured with lots of great promo during South by Southwest. And we'll get back to that, but it's kind of like the March idea. This is going to be a date where citywide we're like, you can't ignore local, we're here, even during South by. Yeah, and so Michael, we kind of left you out of this past discussion. I'm going to circle back around to you because I really liked some things I've heard you say before about the experience. And so when we're talking about putting our message out to the public that it's local, but you're talking about how the experience is really the basis of your whole business. Can you tell us more about that?
Sure. Well, I mean, I'm a writer at heart and by previous trade, and I'm an editor. So I'm always looking for the fewest words possible to say the message and all those things. But I think about the five senses all the time and check them off, and what are they hearing? What are they not smelling? What stinks about hair salons, perms? So the experience is very important. Although we emphasize that we have our barber code. We talk about culture, and culture, it's such a buzzword, but it's so much more. Some of you may be starting out, but others may know what I'm talking about. When it becomes a competitive landscape between us and Finley's and Floyd's and there's a bajillion now. Our employees love coming to work every day. They love coming to work because I give them pizza on busy Saturdays. I acknowledge them on their birthdays. Chameleon Cold Brew will bring by a keg of coffee for them in the back room that's just for them, that we work so hard to make it happen. So if they're happy, they're standing there, they're not telling you how their boyfriend and their car got broken into and all this drama that you maybe have experienced getting a haircut, right? So if they're happy, client's happy, oh man, I got a free shot of beer, so, we try to make the extras the cherry on top of the cherry instead of the ice cream, So it's the culture, and then culture wins. So that's how I'm going to be my competitors. Not that we're competing, there's plenty of haircuts to go around, but it's all about talent, and I want the best talent, and the best talent's going to go to the place they're appreciated the most. And money's almost secondary, but money comes with that. So, experience starts with the person doing the work. It starts there. It starts with the experience that your people are giving other people. So that's our take on it.
That's great. Keeping people happy and then keep your customers happy. That's fantastic. Go ahead, you can jump in.
Well, I was thinking about that. We all ask the question, what is culture? What's the thing that makes us unique? And probably working with hundreds, if not thousands, of business owners at this point, it all comes down to how you think about your business. from a branding and marketing standpoint, a lot of people walk in the door and they'll talk to us about a project. I need a new website, or I need a new logo, or and they think about, well, I don't know really how to say this. What's the messaging behind it? And oh, by the way, this is what and they share, this is what my business does. We offer this, we do this thing here, and it's all about the benefit or the product or the service that they're focused on. And not as much dynamically about the value proposition that it really impacts for their customer and what it means for them. And in this day and age, you know, when you're first to market in Austin with a certain product, it was easy to stand out. You know, Amy's Ice Cream was easy to stand out. And how many ice cream shops do we have in the city now, right?
Bird's Barbershop 10 years ago, we were all alone.
I know, right? I mean, and you guys,
So nice.
yeah, this is awesome.
But now we're so much better.
Yeah.
I swear, we're so much better. That I don't mean to interrupt, but
No, yeah.
we've got this campaign that's had legs for years. It's Bird's logo, Austin, and it's got a picture of our own clientele. And we used to have these photo shoots. And then people will just get pulled off their shoulders, their haircut, and then they become stars on social media and all that stuff. But that was a direct result from Floyd's moving to town. And we're like, man, we gotta
Step it up.
we gotta step up. And how are we gonna do that? Well, they're from Denver and we're from Austin, so we gotta out-local them. That's our difference.
You do,
No,
you
really.
have to, and to your,
Birds, Austin. I mean,
Yeah.
like got as out-local as possible.
Yeah.
So that was a result, and now it's like our Absolute Vodka campaign. It just we always try to change it because we think that we're bored of it, but no.
well, you're it. I mean, that's just it. Like, if you don't have the best service, like service is kind of like a lost art these days, right? You can acquire talent all day long, but if you forget to say hello when someone walks in your door, you've just lost the entire 8 communication points of a sell or an introduction after that, right? So authentic, transparent storytelling, everybody wants to buy and no one wants to be sold to. So you are, the end result, you are culture, you are your story, your clients are your story, your staff is your story, and to your point, you have to share it, show it, tell it, and experience it, because we're all in this together at the end of the day. And there's a piece of the pie in the city for everyone. There's so many people coming here. It is less more about competing as it is positioning.
Yeah, let me jump in. When Armadillo Christmas Bazaar first started, we had the lion's share of the local crafters. But through the years, the market has changed. We now have Cherrywood Arts Festival, which is really good. We have Blue Genie, which is really good. We've got a whole bunch of gallery stores like A-Town that have taken so much of that. So we retreated back to an older mission, which was to put the best of the national touring talent on the same stage with the local folks in order to elevate the perception of value for the locals. And so at the Christmas Bazaar, we brought in, especially since we went from 14,000 square feet to 44,000, we started bringing in the top level of the national talent to come in there with the locals. But we still work with our competitors. I've got a meeting coming up with Art City Austin next month. Let's see, what did we do? We ran a Facebook campaign, Shop All Three, for Blue Genie, Cherrywood, and Armadillo. We promote our artists at every other art show they do anywhere else in the country. And I'm going to go back to another point. Yes, we're all busy and we all have a maximum 100% in the game. But 100.05 will bring you into working together with others. It's such a little bitty bit of additional effort to bring in a whole lot more of return.
Yeah, I think the whole collaboration station is a kind of a mantra, and a lot of people walk in, they'll go, well, I have this designer, I have this group, or I have this other business partner. I'm like, great, awesome, and if they're working for you, let's all work together, because we're better as a collective mind than we are as a singular mind. And to your point, the more that you can highlight someone's uniqueness, whether it's a nonprofit or an arts organization, or a competitor business, it's just going to elevate the power of positive engagement to another level, which is going to bring higher loyalty to your business at the end of the day. So it's less about the step over the fence and see who's on the other side as it is break the wall down, let's go, let's do this.
We have a take on co-branding and collaboration with other businesses. I'm not joining with all the other haircutters, but what I am doing is we think really hard about where else our customer is. So they go to spin classes. Well, at spin classes, we know because Annie goes to spin classes, they have hair ties at the front because you got to keep your hair out of your face when you're doing the bike. I'm the last guy ever to go to spin class, just nice to know. Why don't we just give them some, so if you can go into, we do this with coasters and bars, we do this with ping pong balls at Easy Tiger, we do this with like literally everything that you can order for 1 penny times 1,000. We do this with coffee sleeves at coffee shops everywhere. So we immediately ingratiate ourselves locally. I'm like, I'm gonna buy your coasters for you, your coffee sleeves, all this stuff. They're happy that you just did that for them. You just did them an enormous favor and saved them money, as opposed to going in there and selling something or whatever. And we always go around and give all staff either a standing discount or a whole bunch of, we're in customer service, so other people in customer service understand customer service. So you want to read, those are your buzz people are going to talk about you the most because they're friends.
That's similar to the guerrilla marketing we used to do at the Armadillo World headquarters when we had very little budget and we needed to get the word out. Our goal then was to wallpaper every bathroom and kitchen in South Austin with Armadillo music posters. That helped quite a bit. We got those out everywhere. But we also try to connect with every local business in our zone as a promotion point. I want to talk about something, just to add something else in. Tourists don't come to Austin to see the same national junk they can see everywhere else. They come to see what's distinctive and great about Austin. And you go anywhere in the world and say you're from Texas, you might get a frown, but when you say you're from Austin, they get excited. They really do. That's that reputation that comes from things that are only available here, only local.
All right.
Yeah, very nice. I really love the out local them.
Yeah.
I think that's a mantra we can all apply to our marketing. Okay, and so Rebecca, can you check me on time? Do we need to go to Q&A?
Yeah, it's probably, yeah.
Okay.
So one more thing.
Yes, please, go ahead.
We learned at Armadillo World headquarters the value of selling Austin's identity to Austinites. It is one hot product.
Yeah.
Do you guys have some closing thought or another thought before I
Yeah,
end up questions?
so I was recently asked, and I've shared this with Rebecca, to participate in another organization's messaging position of Austin, and it was with the Chamber of Commerce. And it's a very insightful experience, I'll just say that. It's been 6 months of learning. And through the experience of being asked a few questions, I realized that in the room of 60 business owners that you would know many, many, many names, you see them on TV and all this, strong representatives between the development side, local side, the small shop side. We represented diversity. We had a magazine called L Style, G Style for 8 years in the city, and did a lot of branding for a lot of businesses and advertising, that sort of thing. And so we were the gay contingency, I think, in the room, which I was kind of funny in some ways. But the beautiful side of being invited to this experience was that I had to do my own second layer of education on the city of Austin. And we all know that if you're from here or you've recently moved here, that there's a pride that we all feel. And there's things that when someone comes to visit you, you can't wait to share with them. You can't wait to take them to your favorite restaurant or a certain site or drive by a particular street. There's just like this inherent pride that we all have. And yet when we're talking about this conversation and relating it to small business and the power of local small business or local in general, we realize that it's truly the definer of what Austin really is. It really is fundamentally, even going back to 1979 when the first economic development plan was written for the city of Austin, The foundation of every idea, not the tactics, not the fact that we're trying to address affordability and energy and all these other components that we all address and have issues with every single day, traffic and all that stuff. The foundation of the city was built on the creative community, specifically the local businesses that had started here. The power sits in the people that are in this room, you guys, us. And we have to think about that relating to the culture. And so through this education process of reviewing 40 years, and it was like a master's degree I had to get like in literally 4 weeks to make a presentation of how the heck do we even look to not be a reactive city anymore, knowing that we're not voting for certain things or we're frustrated with traffic and we're not doing anything about it. How do we change that? And the change comes from understanding not only just who our city council is, but how the power of local businesses can network together for a message to be influential into the city as a whole. And what does that mean? Beyond selling your businesses and trying to operate every single day, which is the struggle all on its own, it's to be able to figure out a way to unite together and let not just the neighborhood voice be heard, but the local business voice be heard, because that truly is the definition of not just local culture, but Austin culture. So when I feel like in some ways I'm now in this like place of preaching and challenging the chamber in one way, but it's why my love of this organization is so strong, because it's the faces and the businesses and the ideas that we've all created allow us to really define the feeling you get when you engage with Austin beyond the things that you see with the environment and with the arts community. So think about that. We can talk about how to get involved and what to think about. But I'm working on a plan to how do we engage the city in a different way. That's what we need to do. It's going to be, unfortunately, a social responsibility of all of us to not just come up and talk about something, but to do something about it in order to maintain what we love the most about Austin.
Sure. All right, closing thoughts. People ask me things all the time. I've been in this 11 years and a long time before that in different things. Get a partner. You don't know everything. Don't even think you do. Hold on to your equity as long as humanly possible. I lost one company to that, and I'll never do it again. Birds is mine. Amen. I'm sure there's some amens in the room that you're, those of you that have been there. And then the last thing I'll say is that local, but we're in a really neat town here, Austin. As much as it's changed, everybody loves to be weird and try local first. I lived in Los Angeles for many years. That Bird's Barbershop would have come and gone and just been just another whatever. But here, people tried it first. But that's all they're going to do. They're going to try it. Then you got to earn it, and you're in a lucky place, right? They're going to try you, but that's a one-time deal. So don't rest on your local laurels. That's an amazing up. And when you go to places like Houston, you say you're from Austin, and everybody thinks that they're like listening to you, like you have something to say. So I heard someone say Austin's has become a bigger brand than Texas. When you really break that down, that's crazy.
It really is.
So that's it.
I was just going to agree, a bigger brand by far.
Yeah. Okay, we have a question in the back.
Hi.
She's coming to the mic with the mic. Go ahead.
I have so many questions for Michael, but I'll ask him one now and then one later. I feel like Bird's Barbershop has been very inspirational for us, my business.
What's your business?
And it's Mantis Massage. So like how Bird's is not a salon but a barbershop, we are not a spa, we're a massage clinic, and people come in and we don't have cucumber water or fancy scrubs. You just come in and you get a really, really great corrective deep tissue massage, usually trained by David at Lauderstein Conway. Thank you, David. And and our employees love working there, and so they're coming in, not only are they getting great work, but they're having a great time with their therapist, hanging out with them for an hour and a half. And we had such a great clientele and such a good following, and our clients would talk about us at events, and we were always fully booked at our Airport Boulevard location. So in November, because we were turning away so much business every day, we opened a location on South Congress, and it's like before everyone loved us, and now I feel like, does anyone even like us?
How long ago did you open?
We've been open since November.
Since
And so
November.
you mentioned that every time you go into a new neighborhood,
Oh
you're
my
like,
God.
nobody's
Oh my God, it's so
coming.
freaking
So how do
painful.
you get them to come?
It is the most painful thing.
And
in the
how
world.
do you keep your employees happy? Like, you can have as much
Guarantee them
cold
an
brews.
hourly wage until this tide comes in. I mean, that's what we do. I'm doing this right now. 5.25 weeks in Houston, and I'm just like looking at this thing and like, oh my God, like I need to be at 4x what's happening. And by the way, just don't yes yourself out of business, right? Don't take the next spot. Like, we're killing another spot in Houston because, you know what? This is 2006 again, and nobody knows who we are. Nobody cares. We gotta earn it. So it's painful, but if you really have a business that sells itself, really, and the word of mouth will be positive. When you say nobody cares, is the customers don't care, or the people that are working for you that don't care? Because I think that if the people that are working for you need to care,
No,
and then everything else will follow.
They all care, but on Airport Boulevard we have Mueller, and we have Cherrywood, and we have all of those customers, and we're still booked there, but nobody wants to come to South Congress. It's like we haven't earned that neighborhood yet. But how do we do it? We had 6 years to earn it at Airport.
Yeah, it's a
Door to door.
I always say, and we can talk later, but I know exactly. When we look at our marketing dollars, hair ties at the spin. I also I want to be on Little League fences, and I want to be in Z News community letter to the Zilker neighborhood, which I had to wait for 5 years for them to allow us to advertise there. And we started there. But those just uber local. I mean, direct mail, it's the thing. But just really let the neighborhood know that you're there. Let the neighborhood draw a circle and stay there.
Walk down the
Door to
streets
door.
to the other businesses and introduce yourself formally.
I
and
mean,
give
we've
your
done
card.
door hangers. I mean, do what it takes. Let's draw that circle.
All right, thank you.
Okay, so right up here, right up front.
I guess the question would be, for each of you, what was your best, biggest mistake, and what did you learn from it?
With the business I owned, on the magazine side, it was launching a print business in 2008. That was a fun one. That was a $750,000 mistake, but it took 10 years to recover, and you have to think about when you're ready to put your life savings and your home and everything on the line because you really believe in something and you're passionate about it. And you follow your heart to give the credibility of the good that you did, because I could have sold out like other magazines and just paid to play, and I never did. And that was a really important lesson, is to drive ethics in your business first. That was a silver lining there, but it was to take a missed opportunity or a loss and turn it into a positive, which was build upon the relationships that we established for 10 years and open the doors in different ways for another business. So you never learn from compliments at all.
Great. How about you, Michael?
The question was biggest mistake?
Biggest mistake, what did you learn from it?
Just yesing ourselves out of business. So many things that, we yesed ourselves out of the hair product, but I'll tell you what, just because you can doesn't mean you should, right? Hey, we're doing haircuts that are in between price, and we knew a guy in California who makes shampoo. Boom, now you're in this business, and you had a thriving barbershop thing happening, and I had to push pause on that for a couple of years, and now I'm just kind of a silent minority stakeholder in it. It's thriving actually, but it means nothing to my paycheck. So, I mean, I kind of wasted a lot of time, but I also realized that, you know, it made me come back to birds and look at the price board and say, do we really need that anymore? It made me edit more, made me try to hone birds even more. And again, I'll go back to what I said earlier. I gave away my equity, right? I gave away my power. So you stop being local, right? You start having someone to report to. Or even if it's a thing, they're always there. You gotta tell them what's going on. It's like, I worked so hard to get out of that cubicle. I don't want to tell anybody anything anymore. So, best, worst, 5 years mistake was that. It was giving it away.
Mine was that when I was working at Armadillo World Headquarters running the kitchen, and Armadillo was hitting their bankruptcy and we were going to have to close the kitchen, I stupidly moved it to another nightclub with bad partners. And boy, did I learn the importance of being in control of your own business, the importance of, if you're going to work with people, choose the right people who care about the same stuff you care about. And what I learned when coming back to Armadillo from that was the importance of slow, strategic changes as opposed to moving too fast, of paying great attention to the customer's experience because they will come back. If you can improve it just a little bit every time, they'll come back to see what the hell you did. Don't blow your whole wad of improvement all at once. Do it in small increments because then people are coming to see the change. And we found that was really important. But the key thing, I think, from all of that, through that slow strategy that I learned after going too fast into that one, look at the long run, look at sustainability, look at how you connect to others to get the strength, to get the energy into your business, and then how do you maintain it? And one of the key things is don't be a money pump with no reservoir. Every stroke in, every stroke out, a little bit goes in the reservoir. That's your emergency money. That's when something big happens, when you need a capital improvement, when you need anything like that. You don't want to depend on the banks. Every time you buy something, throw a few pennies in the jar. Every time you sell something, throw a few pennies in the jar. Bank it. Hold it.
All right. Yeah, I think we've got time for one more right up here. She's coming to you.
Hi.
Hi, my name's Rena, and I have a question about local culture and business culture, and it applies to all of you, but Michael, I know you just moved on to Houston 5.2 weeks ago, and and I want to know, we're our business, we're a wellness studio mantra, by the way, Northwest Austin, but we're very community centered, and we're not only embracing the Northwest Hills, but you know, the northwest of Austin. And when we think about expanding and opening up another place, how do we keep this business culture, one, moving into another place in Austin that's not our neighborhood. We live in our neighborhood. We know these people, they're family. We're two owners that are in the business all the time. And my second part of that question is, how do we keep that business culture and that local Austin culture when we choose to move, if we do so, out of Austin? So say moving to Houston, totally different vibe. I don't know if we're coming in and saying, hey, we're Austin, if we're gonna get that kind of like, you must be really cool, or how is that gonna translate and how do we hold on to that identity?
Well, we baked in a whole new set of costs of, first of all, okay, so people, we brought them in, they worked shifts here in Austin, they got to know everybody, they came to the Christmas party all before they even started working. Also, and we really thought about this a lot before moving to Houston, it's like, how do we take who we are there? You know, you can paint the walls, but how do you take that? And we had 2 or 3 people express interest in opening it as a manager, and I mean, everybody says Torchies. I talked to everybody about what they did when they left, and you need to export someone who's really going to take that with them, and you know, just exude that, and it knows the binder without having to flip through it, you know. But you have to export a little bit at a time, and we would do that. Even our second shop was Burnett Road from Lamar, which in 2007 that was like forever across town. And nobody knew who we were, but exporting a couple of stylists and, you know, front desk was pretty crucial to, like, I always come back to it. It starts with the employees, so once they're jazzed, business follows.
You know, one of the things that so the downfall of L Style, G Style magazine was our expansion into Dallas and Houston in 2012. And we spent a good amount of money doing consulting, bringing people in from Mother Jones magazine as a publisher, looking at how to run a business as a nonprofit. We brought in the guy from Out.com who launched the digital platform, and we had this consulting meeting, and then we spent a year strategizing and running business performance on what's the right method to enter these cities. But most important, the number one thing that would sustain us even today was cultivating relationships on the ground in those cities. So every month I would spend a week for a year, a week in Dallas, and then I'd spend a week in Houston. And over the course of a year, we built about 500, 600 different relationships in each city before we even started to launch the magazine there. And if you don't have one living and breathing the culture of that community, knowing how people think, understanding the flow of traffic, understanding mindsets, behaviors, interests, things that are important, it won't matter. And I think that to some degree it feels that way even with the subdivide of our neighborhoods and how the growth of Austin's happening between north and south. And you know, second to that, you can plan all day long, but thinking about who your customer base is going to be a really critical component. Had we not taken the strategy to look at regional and national advertisers to buy in to our business, which is all different for everyone, into Dallas, Houston, and Austin at once, had we just taken the strategy that we had done with Austin and cultivating relationships by walking in the door. I mean, literally, we have a list of 3,000 businesses where I would drive day in, day out and say hello and welcome and how are you, and 3 seconds to say what you're about and why you should be engaged with L-Style and all that. If we hadn't done that, if we had taken the local effort to Dallas and Austin, we would be still successful in those other cities. So it's really, relationship building is no different than saying hi, hello, how are you, your family connection to a city, and extending your heart as big as you have here.
We've never had to move out of Austin, but we've had to move across Austin 7 times. We've 7 different locations. The move to downtown was hard because we had been known so long as a South Austin institution, but it went pretty quick as downtown quickly discovered us. It changed our attendance pattern. It changed the desirability of certain parts of the merchandise mix that were at the show. But we immediately started connecting with the downtown community. We sponsored the Downtown Austin Neighborhood Association's Downtown Living Tour. And we started jumping in with them, with all the local businesses, the Downtown Austin Alliance. You figure you're local wherever you are, so whatever there is around you is your local community. Those are the people you need to impress. Those are the people you need to connect with. Those are your helpers. That's your allies in building that sphere of prosperity around your business and your location. Thank you.
Fantastic. Well, thank you so much, panelists. And I think we're going to take a break now. I see Rebecca's headed back up here. Let's give these folks a big hand.